So you're welcome to today's episode, today's edition. Let's see how that works. A second. Okay, so Maduka's masterclass. We're focusing on excelling at presentation skills, excelling at in-person presentations to be specific, not presentations virtual, which we handled last time we were together, but presentations in person. In person. So if you have to be in a room or in a hall or in a place where there are people there looking at you, interacting with you, and you will need to speak to them, how can you get that done? And this will be applicable to a whole range of types of presentations, whether it is an academic sort of presentation, which is mostly what many of us in this room, I believe, have been involved in or will be involved in, or it is more of a presentation where you are the expert and you're trying to communicate, you're trying to inform, you're trying to make people aware or take some action or the other. Whatever the type of presentation that you're involved in, some of the tips we will share will be useful. I thought this would end up being a two-part interaction because uh, I'm doubtful that in the time that we have, we can cover everything. There's a lot. So I thought to myself, okay, let's start and let's see how far we go. And then next week we can see if we can wrap up. So an interesting question for us. I'd like to see hands up if you have ever done an in-person presentation that you came away thinking that wasn't good at all. That wasn't good at all. I think my hand will be the first hand up. If you have done an in-person presentation that you felt, no, 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 that wasn't good enough. I could have done better. You felt somehow about it. Please let me see. Let me see your hand up. Let's see hands up. I can see hands up coming up all over the room. The rest of us are experts, Abby. uh, yeah. I mean, it's been there, done that. They're like, chai, 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 chai. What just happened? You know? So many hands, many people are like me. They at least one experience that didn't go well. Thank you very much for caring enough to share. Um, does anybody feel brave enough to put in the chat one reason why you felt it didn't go well? Um, is anybody brave enough to put in the chat one reason why you felt it didn't go well, even before we start to get into the material? Uh, does anybody want to put one reason? Okay, so Zoma says she was nervous. Any other person want to contribute? One reason why you feel or you felt this presentation you made didn't go well. All right, somebody said that my delivery could have been better. My delivery could have been better. Somebody said I didn't manage time properly. Yes, so let's contribute more. I'll just set up the notes, discussion notes. Well, let's contribute more.
Order. Say good order. All right.
Just mute everybody. Okay. Some very interesting feedback. Let's go into the chat room, everybody. Quite some interesting things are happening there. Some interesting feedback. Some. I mean, you can identify with a lot of what we are going to be looking at. All right. So you see somebody says I used informal language. Somebody says my slides were too crowded. I mean, it was a last minute thing and I wasn't prepared enough. So I had too many animations. I used a lot of filler words. Yes. So I didn't sleep the night before, forgot some things. And that's probably because you were maybe busy or you were over preparing somehow. Someone says, I felt my voice wavered, a lot of repetition, a lot of filler words, time management, preparation, fonts were not good, nervous. So you see quite a lot of things coming up here. Quite a lot of things coming up here. So that's quite interesting. The thing about it is that you would never become you will not become an expert overnight. And I am very sure that going back to ask us, if I come back to you and ask you whether you have learned from that and improved, your answer would most likely be yes. I have actually done better. I've improved. I've gone. I now know some things. I may not be perfect. Like you may still use filler words. You may still feel butterflies in your stomach just before you have to take a presentation. But the important thing is that you are moving towards improvement. And the major reason I know you are interested in improving your presentation skills is because you are in this room. You are here with the rest of us, and you are that shows that you are interested and that you are enthusiastic. So let me just share. So like I sometimes do, today I will be using, one second. Today I will be using talking notes. We'll be using notes, but I will still share slides with you. But I felt that I mean, let's use notes. We'll still share slides. At the end, I will share these notes. I will share a deck of slides. I'll share the recording. Any other thing I think may be useful to you. All right. So I really didn't want this to be a presentation or a conversation around what is a presentation, why do you do a presentation, and all of that. I just wanted it to be practical advice, practical conversation and sharing about what you need to consider, what you need to prepare, what you need to do before and during a presentation. So like a lot of our responses have shown, you have attached your presentation performance to your preparation. Many of us can go back and audit ourselves and say the reason why I didn't do as well as I could have is because I didn't prepare well enough. So performance and preparation go hand in glove. And so we would look at before you present. This is in-person presentation, note, but many of these things are also relevant to virtual presentations, kind of presentations. So before you present, what should you be thinking? What should you be doing? How should you be preparing? Now, this is a conversation, so I want us to take it one after the other. I am always going to start with why, with purpose. Why are you doing this presentation? Why are you even doing a presentation? Is that the best way to communicate? For some of us, the style, the platform, let me use the word platform, the communication platform is not our choosing. You have a PhD defense, thesis defense. or a proposal defense. And the people who have set it up have said, come with a deck of slides. They may even have given you a template, come and present. So it has been chosen for you. So you don't have the luxury of saying, can I do this some other way? But somebody in my position, for example, right now, I have chosen the method for my presentation that, okay, I'm not going to use a deck of slides. I'm going to use an outline. I'm going to talk through or interact with us using an outline. Some other situations, you don't really have a choice, but you must always identify the why. It was Simon Sinek that says, begin with your why. He has a whole book on it. What's the purpose? Because everything else you will do will be informed by purpose. There was a presentation myself and a couple of colleagues made at the APHPN conference. Two presentations actually, but one in particular, the one about the SAFIN conference. And the purpose of that presentation, my purpose, there was a bigger purpose, which was to enlighten people about what the association is, what the association does, the society does, and where the society would like to go to in terms of its influence and its ability to achieve its objectives, especially with regards to adolescent medicine practice in Nigeria. So that's fantastic. But my purpose within that cascade of presentations was to sell the conference, was to make you feel like I must be in Port Harcourt in August. Forget every other thing that is happening on the national stage right now. That conference will still hold by God's grace. So my purpose there was to make you want to register for the conference. And if I left that presentation and I didn't get feedback of people saying, I am trying to register, I have tried, I would have considered that I didn't do a good job. So everything I set up to say, to do, the way I approached it was with the objective, with the purpose in mind. And I think if you would like to give me some feedback, those of you who were there would agree with me that to a large extent, I delivered on that objective. I delivered on that purpose because you felt like, this conference is going to be fantastic. Let me join. So the purpose is really important. When you realize and you understand the purpose, you craft every other thing around achieving the purpose. You craft everything else around achieving the purpose. It's very important. So you have to think purpose first. Why am I doing this presentation? At the end of the day, what do I want people to say, to think, to feel, to do? What do I want people to say, to think, to feel, to think, to say, to think, to feel, to say, to do? Let's arrange it that way. To think, to feel, to say, to do. What do I want to achieve? So it's very important. Is this just thought moving information? Is this instruction, things you can take into your life and do? Is this persuasion more than anything else? Change your mind about something. So a lot of health education, health communication is persuasion. It's not just information. There is also the element of persuasion. Is it engagement? I want more people to engage with this. I want more people to get involved with something. I want people to get drawn into the issue and feel a sense of association with it or relationship with it or some sort of yes I'm part of what is going on. Am I here to educate? Is this to educate people? Okay, you didn't know something, now you know something. Is this to provide some sort of information that will help you to be able to do something better? Is it to equip? Is it to encourage? Or is it a multiplicity of these things? One of the mistakes we will make with presentations, in-person presentations, is that we're so focused on information that we forget that what people know in their head is not often related or connected to what they do, how they act. A lot of research has shown us that knowledge does not equate practice, that you can have a high level of knowledge, a high percentage of the people know, the right thing, but a low percentage do the right thing. So communication and in-person communication, in-person presentations can move people not just to inform them, but to also persuade them, to also equip them, and to get them to do to take action. So it's always important that you have that in mind. And that actually becomes your compass. There are some types of presentation methods you will not use if you know what your purpose is. The other thing to consider, this is all before you present, all of this before you present, is where? Place. Place. Where? Where is this presentation going to take place? If it is possible, go to the venue before the day. If it is possible. I usually often do this for anywhere I'm presenting, anywhere I'm facilitating. In fact, the day before conference started, that pre-conference day, I'm referring to the APHPN conference that just ended. I walked into the hall. It's a habit I have formed. I walked into the hall. I looked at the stage. I saw them decorating. I saw that there was a big screen in the middle. And then it was very clear to me that it would be difficult for them to put seats in front. They probably put it at the side. They probably put a podium here. I mapped all that. So this is where we will need to start. That the distance between the podium and the seats was quite some distance. So you are high up there, but you can have the tendency to be small. So I decided, okay, my voice is going to be what? All this just almost subconsciously in my head, because it's become a habit. Know where you are presenting. How big, how small is it? What is the seating arrangement? Is it going to be full to capacity? And the lights, what kind of lights do they have there? And the lights going to be too bright, shining in your eyes, or is it going to be too dark? All of that, you may be able to influence a change in how the location is being used if you have enough influence and power in that situation. You may not. What you can now influence is how you manage the situation, It is it is a show of poor preparation if it is when you are coming up that you are thinking, okay, is when you are coming up to present that you're not thinking, oh, where am I going to stand? What am I? And as you are standing, that you are calculating, where do I stand? You should have as much as possible. Now, if you can't go to the hall, ask for a description of the hall. Where are we meeting? Now, I know that there are times where presentation has been set for one particular place, but they will carry, all of a sudden, thing will happen, and they will move you to a different location, and that can be completely upsetting. But no, don't obsess about that so much. While you are moving to the new place, once you get there, use a few minutes to just calculate and calibrate. What does this look like? Am I facing people? Are people facing me? Are people to decide? How have they set this up? Can I do some rearrangement? How do I make what I have work? Very important that you know the location, that you know the size of the place, you know what the stage looks like, the light, the seating arrangement. You really understand what's going on. If it's a small place, then that means you can achieve something that sounds more like personal, informal. You can afford to look people in the eye one after the other. It's a huge hall. How you want to make eye contact may be a bit difficult. So you can decide to just look straight into the crowd and talk. It just depends on what's going on. People. Who are you presenting to? And who are you presenting for? These two things sometimes will have tension. Who are you presenting to? And who are you presenting for? You must think it through. So who am I presenting to? Am I presenting to young people? Am I presenting to old, middle-aged people? Am I presenting to experts? Am I presenting to novices? There's no way you would prepare a presentation for adolescents, teenagers, and you will not if you know they are teenagers, you would want to arrange yourself in a way that will appeal to teenagers who are very visually inclined, who are very they will take either of two extremes. They will be very exuberant and let you know exactly how they feel, or they will be very reserved if they feel like there will be some issues or some trouble if they express themselves, and be very withdrawn. So you have to have all of that in mind. The kind of language you would use, how you would coin your words. You can create slides, a deck of slides for, let's say, experts, public health experts, and afford to use some terminology that, if you are creating that same presentation for people who don't even know public health at all, you cannot afford to use that. If it is a research that you have done and you want to communicate your research findings, if you are communicating to people like me or people like many of you who here who know public health, well, you can use some language, descriptive, cross-sectional, case control, cohort study. You can talk like that, systematic sampling, randomized control trial, and everybody understands what you're talking about. In fact, if you don't use that language, you'll be wondering what's wrong with you. But if you want to communicate the results or your research to villagers, members of a community that you carried out, so you carried out the research in the particular community, and you want to come back and do research uptake activities, like trying to find a way to let people know this is what we did, this is what we found, this is what it means, you will need to simplify, completely throw away all those language and use words like, we came to this community to find out, not to conduct a study, no, to find out what the problems are, to find out what your needs are. And this is what we found. Bother them with your methodology. They're not interested. If we are the ones, it's the experts that need your methodology. This is what we found. This is what it means. This is our suggestion about what you should do. Keep it simple. Sometimes the people you are presenting for may be at a conflict with the people you are presenting to. Resolve it with the people you are presenting for. Say, look, you are asking me to do an academic presentation, but these people are not academicians. I am going to tweak my presentation. Especially if you are not the one, you're not presenting for marks or presenting for grades, you're presenting because you are the expert. You can come up on stage or even before and tell them that we're going to have to make adjustments. The important thing is, did people benefit from your presentation, not how expert sounding you are. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you the truth, even to experts, it is refreshing to use language that is easy to understand, even with experts. Simplicity in communication is always far preferred, much more preferred than jargon, than a show of expertise. All right. Plan. What is your plan? How? So this is your presentation methodology. This is your presentation methodology. So give me, for example, let's converse in the chat for a few minutes. Give me, for example, some different types of methodologies that you have used in a presentation. Some different types of methodology that you have used in carrying out a presentation. And then many of you are thinking, are there different types? I thought there was only one. Let's see. Happy to have contributions in the chat. What different types of methodology have you used during your presentation? All right, I'm seeing feedback and I'm excited. Thank you, Nafisa. Thank you, Nana. Can we have more? Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Aluchi. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So methodology is so important, because you know what you want to deliver, you know what you want to achieve. The question is, how do you want to achieve it? And if you can look in the chat, you can see a lot of different ways. The methodology is your means, your way to achieve it. It is is the road you choose to use to get people to the purpose. Is the road you choose to use. Do you want to take on an interactive approach where from the beginning you are facilitating discussions? You are presenting, but you are facilitating discussion. So you say something, you pause, you ask people to contribute, you throw a question. So a lot of that participatory, we call that an approach. So methods are things you do, approach are a combination of things that take you to a particular direction. So the approach could be an interactive approach. The approach could be a didactic approach. So your approach can be interactive. Your approach can be didactic. Didactic is don't talk. I'm the one teaching here. I will just tell you how it is, share with you, talk. What we call moving stuff. That's didactic. Then wait till the end, and maybe we will allow some Q&A. So that's didactic with a Q&A session at the end. That's your approach. Your approach may be interactive, where I will engage the audience, participants, I will ask them questions, I will throw something that will bring them. It can be interactive. We will have some group discussions. At some point, I will tell people to break into groups and talk. I will not be the only one doing the talking. I will ask people to also come and share. Which do you think engages more? Didactic versus interactive. Which engages more? Which do people find more interesting? Which pulls people more? Yes. And I see the feedback. Your approach could also, yes, interactive is awesome. So your approach could also be persuasive. So you're not didactic as in you're producing and giving information. You are not interactive as in getting people to talk back to you, but you are persuasive. So you would use storytelling, for example. You would use a video. You will tell a story. You want to move people. You want to appeal to people's emotions. You will probably be a little bit more expressive. Your hand gestures, you will use examples. You will use stories. This is how a persuasive approach works, and all the tools that you would bring in to get that done. If you're taking a didactic approach, you would need things like slides, a deck of slides, or a note outline, a lecture note that you are just following. Okay, next, then next, then next. If you're using a interactive approach, you will probably need things like panel topics for panels to discuss. You need things like questions that you would ask and get feedback on. So you will need a feedback system. All of that is quite important. You can see why it was important for us to spend so much time on this. There will be, to see if we can take some questions at the end. But let's continue. Point in time. When is this presentation going to happen? It's very interesting that even though this is often overlooked, the time of the day and the time within the larger scope of everything that is going on. So not just time of the day, as in whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, but also when it has been placed within the schedule of every other thing that is happening. So for example, you are the 49th person in a series of 50 presentations for the day. Omo, you will need to bring it. The people listening are tired, they are fed up, and they're probably saying in their mind, if I hear one more presentation, I will scream. Then you are the 49th person or the 50th person, the what we call number last. You will need to come in there and say, can we please stand up? Can we please shake our body? Use maybe a small exercise, use an icebreaker, get people to move around, but not too much so that they don't move out of the door inside their car and drive off, and then bring people back in. You may need to tell a story, crack a joke, get comedy in the room. get people to loosen up, and then get people to say, okay, what does she have or what does he have to say? It's very important. But if you are people are bright, it's bright early, it's crisp, you can afford to be a little bit more business-like, even though storytelling, engaging are always fantastic ways to bring people in, irrespective of the time of the day. You may have to do something with your voice, the pitch, the tone, to be able to engage people. It depends on what it is. And then, of course, if you are presenting immediately before lunch, people are restless. Keep it short. If you're presenting immediately after lunch, people are tired and sleepy. Keep it interesting. So that really should be playing in your mind as you prepare for your presentation. And you can imagine the last thing I've put here, which is what oftentimes we just go straight to, is what is your presentation, is the information, is the content of your presentation. The what? That's the content of your presentation. And honestly speaking, presentation style and technique, how fluent you are, how eloquent you are, how engaging you are, the fact that you can tell stories, you can crack jokes, you can make people laugh, will not make up for poor content. So I have a mentor that says the hood does not make the monk. That you are wearing hood doesn't really, we want to hear you talk. We want to see your content. We want to know what you are presenting. That will tell us whether you have stuff. So you need to make sure that you have content, that you are full of content, that your material is solid, that what you want to say is useful, it's important, and it is organized and arranged in such a way that it's logical, that it's sensible, that it makes sense. Because all your fluency, all your ability to talk will not. Thank you, Olaide. You want to eat the meat of your presentation. We want to see your stuff. So if you've done research and you want to communicate research findings, and I mean, you're communicating to an educated audience, we want to see your objectives, we want to see your methods, you want to see your results, we want to see your discussion, and it needs to be lucid. It needs to make sense. So if you are inside there and then you start with methods and you go to objectives, and then from there you can tell us recommendations before you tell us your results. I mean, somebody will be sitting down there and be like, oh God, what's this? And when it is time for feedback, people will let you have it. Or they will keep quiet and have a wrong impression, a bad impression about you. So make sure your content is sound, is solid. Do the research. Do the work, but don't just research and put it there. Many of us do presentations by doing copy and paste. So there's a Word document. So you just copy and you just paste it. We're not talking about preparing slides here now. I know when we did, I told us it was a no-no. We know that's a no-no. But beyond that, make sure that you have the information, not just on the slides, but in your heart, in your mind. You know your stuff. You know it. Has any of us ever experienced where you came in, you have slides, they set up the slides, you have given them the slides, for whatever reason, slide did not slide. It didn't come on, it didn't transition well. It was when they took lights, the projector went off, something went wrong. And the slides you were preparing with and putting all your confidence on, it didn't work. What do you do? What do you do? If you have the content inside you, you may fumble a bit, but you won't flounder. You will still be able to deliver. It's very, very, very important. All right. Now I'm a bit concerned because this one I want to talk about, I hope we have enough time. Let's see. We have a few minutes. Please, if you have questions, put it in the chat. Please put it in the chat. We'll see if we can pick a few questions, 2 or 3 minutes before we have to close the session. I've spoken about some of these things before. So before you present, There are things you will need to produce and keep ready as aids, assistants, things that will help you present. All right. So, what are the things that will help you in your practice of your presentation? You need the content, you need the presentation, you need to rehearse it. You may need to rehearse it in front of a mirror, you may need to rehearse it in front of a dummy audience or a real audience. Before you take the presentation to the university, you may want to call your department together and present to them. Worst case scenario, stand in front of the mirror and talk and talk and talk and talk. Rehearse your content. Say it and say it and say it. Before you come on stage to present, if you are able to have presented to yourself, to other people about 2 or 3 times, you will see that you'll be a lot more relaxed, a lot more practiced, you'll be a lot more professional in your presentation. Now, let's talk about props. Props is anything that is physical, that is visual, that stimulates the senses, that helps people remember what you are presenting, that helps people internalize what you're presenting, that helps just to pass the information across better, aside from you talking. So stories, the story itself, people imagining the story is a very good prop. A video, wanting to play a video is a very good prop, but please note about videos, the video must play. The video must play with audio and visuals together. This is usually a problem with virtual presentations. When you're presenting over Zoom or over Microsoft Teams or something, knowing how to make the two go together. And even if you're presenting in the hall, knowing that these videos, now you might just decide, the technical people may decide, we're not going to be with you today. What do? You move on. Don't become scattered because the video didn't play. You just move on. At the same time, I've noticed something. Tip for everybody. Don't be so nervous of silence or space or time that it will take for the video to come up. Between the time you say this video, I'm playing this video now, or you give an instruction or a code to the technical people to play the video, and when it actually plays, 30 seconds, sometimes up to a minute. And many people find that time, space of nothing happening uncomfortable. They feel it means I'm incompetent, that you are communicating to the audience that something is wrong. Not necessarily. So what I do to manage that time space is that I will give the instruction or the cue for it for the video to come on. And I will say, while the video is coming on, let me just say, and I'll go back to the technical people, as soon as you are ready, please play it, I will pause. So that way you've communicated to the technical guys, continue trying to play this thing. You've told people, I need some time, let's all be together, let this thing play. Not that, okay, so the video is going to play, we're going to play a video now, technical team, play the video. And then that's, in the very next second, like, okay, so maybe the technical people are not able to play it. I don't know, something may be wrong with the technical. No, calm down. Technical things take a bit of time. I've seen that impatience. And because I'm also on the other end of tech, sometimes being the one to help to play the video, it can be quite frustrating. Like, you've asked me to do something, give me a few seconds to do it. All right, let's move. Let's make progress. Pictures, either on a slide or, pictures have a way of stimulating. Even how you dress. So if you're talking to young people and you dress down casual, or if you're talking to experts and you dress up very formal, it can help with trying to pass the message across. Of course, we all know projector, laptop, slide manager. Sometimes if you're using flip charts, you need a flip board. But let me say something about projector. Many of us have not taken the time to learn how to set up a projector for ourselves. I want to give us an encouragement and a task. This is a call to action. Go and learn how to set up and dismantle a projector, how to connect it to your laptop, how to get it to project, how to stand it, how to adjust it. It's not rocket science. The people who do it are not far more advanced technologically than you. It helps. It really helps. Tip about use of laptop. The laptop, it's actually best practice if you have something in front of you that is showing your slides to you, but at the same time controlling the TV or the projector that people are seeing in the hall. So it is best practice for the cable to be connected to the laptop that is in front of. So you're not bending your neck. You're not bending your neck to be looking at the TV or the screen while trying to talk to people. So you bend, you try to see what's on your slide, you bend back, you talk to people. It's not, we do it. I do it when there's no other option. But the best practice is for you to be in control. Let the slides be on the laptop in front of you. When you glance down and you glance back up, people will hardly notice. You're still keeping eye contact. You're still maintaining. Very important. Please, let's learn. And then this thing they call slide manager, slide changer, that thing that you connect a dongle to the laptop and you change the slides by yourself. Please, it's useful. It's very, very useful. I would advise us if we present often to own one and carry it around with you. If you present often, hold one, carry it around with you. Find out if they have ahead of time so that you can use. Find out how it is used. Many of these things are very simple. Press this forward, press this back, and you're good. First, we spent time talking about our slides in an earlier class, so I wouldn't go into that so much. But these are the things in a nutshell. Today, we've looked at the 6 P's for preparing, and then what you need to produce before. So all we've done today is preparation, what you need to do before. And like I said, I'll send this outline, I'll send slides, and send this recording to us. Thank you very much for your time. Do we have questions? Yeah. So let me read some of the comments and the feedback. There's need to take control of one's presentation and not rely on anybody to move the slides for you. I couldn't agree more, my NPE. I couldn't agree more. The more control you have over your presentation, one of the things that is so annoying is having to say next slide, next slide. Let's not do it. So owning a pointer, using it, knowing how to use, knowing how to control. Actually, there's no pointer. The laptop is in front of you. You change your slides yourself now. Did you keep there as your to be changing slide for you? This is how I feel about it. And I know a lot of experts, Zainab agrees. So the question is, visual presentations engage your audience. How do they engage your audience and when do you use them? So a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. A picture is worth more than 1,000 words. What a picture does is that it stimulates the imagination. It stimulates the imagination. It gets people to see what you are saying, not just hear what you are saying. So pictures are really powerful. Now you need to bring them in when you want to drive home an important point. Not all of the whole slides will be pictures, but if you're going to look at a ratio between pictures and text in your slide, between pictures and text in your slide, I'll say pictures do 60% to 70%, and then text does 30 to 40%. That would be my recommendation. That'll be my recommendation. All right. Trying to check if there's any other comments and feedback. Yes. So Jaja has a question. How do you manage the when if you're doing an academic presentation like a proposal dissertation? Okay. Nothing much you can do. You just use what you have been given. And one of the things that you do, okay, one of the things that you do that is really important, really, really important in an academic presentation is that you stick to the time that you have been given. There's nothing annoying, a few things more annoying than they give you 10 minutes and you're talking for 15. So time management is very, very important. Very, very, very important. All right. Any other questions? We've gone beyond our time. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody. Let me enable people to unmute at this point. Thank you to everybody all right, that's fine. Thank you to everybody for your time and for being on this call with us. I like to appreciate it. We're not done. We're not done because